Hey guys, welcome to Niche. Right, this is an early access game I absolutely fell in love with. I completely adore this game. I played it, I tried it out, really love it, absolutely adore it. We basically control a little pack of these guys, and basically we just need to try to get to survive. It's a genetic survival game. It's actually part of the name. It's still only in early access, and it's really addictive. I still in early access. I bought it, really loved it. Went to try it for the first time, just to see if it's the sort of game I'd like, that I could record possibly, and I end up playing it for 5 hours straight. Time just wished past really quickly. So it's a really addictive game, really love it, and thought I'd bring it to you. It's meant to still be coming out in the third quarter of 2017, so really can't wait for that final day for them to add a whole bunch of new stuff. There is an update that I need to update, so I'm a little questionable whether or not I should have updated it before I started this. So the family we go into playing now may not be the one for the rest of the series, but I really want this to sort of be almost like a test to see how recording this really goes. So basically the idea of this game is we have these guys. These are males with the mains, and the females are without, and you have different features on each one, so it's basically playing with genetics, breeding, but while we have different environments, these are bushes that we feed on, and we have moles that we can prey on, and then we have, in the background, you have these creatures here. They look a bit like hyenas. They are called carnivores, and they will hunt down and eat your pack. So it's basically surviving. So let's play. If it wants to play. Okay, I had a hiccup for a moment. Okay, so I have two here. This one's the one I ended up playing for, okay, near enough 6 hours. And then this was another one I wanted to try because I wanted to see how different things diversified, like different starting islands, different features, how to come, because playing that for 5 hours I got a gist of how to play the game, but I didn't know what situations could possibly be different. So it's more of me getting used to it. So let's start a new game, and I didn't really think this through. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to call this one. So okay, I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'll be right back once I think of one. Okay, came up with a name. Strixia. I have a weird thing. I do like things but ending in, like things with the letter X in and ending in IA. Don't know why, especially if it's place names. Can't help it. So we're gonna click play, and it's gonna freeze for a moment. See, it doesn't normally do that, but don't know what's doing it now. So it's creating a world, and normally your starting island is fairly small because you can travel to other islands. Okay, so here it is. It's this board game like S. We've got these hexagons here, and so this is our starting island. It's the smallest starting island I think I've had It's really small, you can sort of like see the reflection. So you go to these sort of like plots. This is the travel block. So you have your pack in here, well, or those you want to take anyway, and then you travel through this to another island. So we got all this grass, it's all one biome, all one habitat, and you have these bushes that you feed on. So, and then these nests which you breed in. You have your food up here, you start with 20. This is how many individuals you have in your pack. We have 2 here. And then we have these that are like twigs, which you use to make nests. You have here, which is the vision in their eyesight. So you can see this is how much they can see. Then what they can hear. So if there's something around, like a rabbit possibly, you could then hear. You could hear it even if you can't see it. And then smell. So from smell I can see the fact that there's a bush here and a bush here. So I can collect more food if I get someone perhaps situated here who can then harvest from both bushes. So that's then to help you determine which place is the best for you to go to. And then you have this button down here, which you use to end your turn, which is basically a day. These guys follow you. The gems they have on them is what moves they can use, but I'll get to that in a minute. You have here, welcome to Niche. This game is about survival. If you are new to Niche, you can get a quick intro by pressing the question mark. So if you press question mark, it will take you through, but because I familiarised myself beforehand, won't need to do that. If you guys are interested in getting this game, I will leave the link to it below. But you can literally just search up on Google or Bing, whatever you use, or look it up at Steam. The colourful fields can be used to travel to new islands. So that's what we just looked at. A proper tutorial will be added soon. It, I think, is already added, but not 100% sure on that. Don't question me on it. Hope you have fun playing. Smiley face. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any feedback or questions. So, I already have a draft out to email them with feedback. But that's not here or there. So this bar gets rid of these. These are basically your notifications. You then have our family tree here. We have Eve and Adam. But I'll get into that in a second. Then here we have our mutation menu. So these are the genes I have unlocked. The question marks need to be unlocked. For example, this one's locked. I need to either search 20 savanna fields or 15 deserts. Haven't actually come across either of them in my time playing. But you have medium ears, which give them 3% hearing. Then those have eyesight, so you have those on snouts, on like features. Then have these that are like cracker jaw and split snouts, that's more phenotype. You then have like different body shapes, different paws. Then we've got fur colours, mane colours, eye colours, then tails and hind legs, and these are horn colours. So that's basically the little table of different mutations, and drop and drag them here to increase the chances of you getting them in your offspring. So what you put in here will have a 10% increase. So if I clicked blind, which blind animals only act within packmate's sight range, which means you can't use them to explore themselves, if I put that there, then it will increase the chances of me getting blind offspring by 10%, or here, or this one, which would be 30%. So that then really makes you influence who you particularly want in your pack. Of course, it is still all genetically altered, which means if you put let's say fishing tail in 30%, if none of them carry the fishing tail gene, I don't think you will then get fishtails. You may do from random mutation, because some of these can only be unlocked here through random mutations. You can get it through random mutation, but it's then harder to get, so then increasing your odds, etc. Anyway, let's introduce the two members. We have Eve down here. Yeah, okay. Sorry for that. Yes, so we have Eve here. She has just 10% from having a stinky tail, which is part of her genes. Spikiness, so she has a spiky body. She has odor disguise from having a spiky body. Stealth, stealth 1, and that's odor disguise 1. So they help camouflage you from predators, from prey, and etc. So smelling 2, so she can smell 2 blocks. Hearing 3 from having medium, and eyesight 2. She then has a speed of 3, which means with one of these actions she can move 3 spots, but of course haven't actually discovered enough area for her to walk directly 3 spots. We then have swimming 1, which means she's quite a slow swimmer, but she can still swim. Collecting 1, which means she can only collect 1 of these berries at a time. Strength 3, so she's she's quite strong. Digging 1, and cracking 2, and that's because of her jaw, because you can see already the fact that she has different snout to Adam, and that's because of the phenotype. We also have here, which is animals rank. So we have alpha, beta, and omega. So alphas eat first, omegas eat last, to build a hierarchy, because we have a food system there. So if you don't have enough food, I'm not 100% sure how that works, whether it's with each action or how many members. So if we don't do any actions and we skip, because we haven't done any actions, we can see whether or not it'll go down per member or whether it goes through because of your actions. If it goes down per member, that will mean that having a big pack would be harder to handle food wise. But this then is the table we have for her. So this is her genetic table. So she has ram horns, as you can see, with antlers as an inactive recessive gene. We have medium ears for 2. She then has a cracker jaw, which means she can crack through nuts to get food, so as opposed to other feeding methods. So she's the only one who can do that, because Adam doesn't have that snout, so she can't get food through nuts. But we don't actually have a tree on this island, which means having that gene isn't important, which means we may want to breed that out of the family line. But let's just see. We then got spiky body again, so that's 2 spiky bodies. We then have a digger paw, which is this one, which allows her to dig, and runner paw, which gives her those. She has an recessive web-tail hind leg and normal hind leg. She has normal eyes, but has blind eyes in the recessive. So hopefully at one point we'll be able to breed that out as well. So they all have relatively good eyesight. Then has the stinky tail, although because it's blurred out, she doesn't physically have said tail. Not like Adam does here. That's partly because of her spiky body. It prevents her from having a tail. Shin has grey fur with yellow underneath. That's what's given her this creamy beige coloured, because it's mixing the two colours. Then has red mane and beige mane, which she could pass on because she's not male, she's female, she doesn't have a mane. So that all determines on the colour of her offsprings. She then has no pattern, but has stripy inactive. She has blue eyes with the violet eyes recessive. So, like in real life, eye colours sort of have their own hierarchy of their own through dominance to recessive. The two dominant eye colours being the one dominant eye colour being brown. In this game there's also black, which is dominant over brown. And then you have, in humans, the recessive three being grey, green, and blue. Violet you can find in humans, but that's part of a, I don't want to call it a disease, but it's from an irregular condition. So yeah, you have blue, green and grey in humans. They each have their own hierarchy as well, because if I remember correctly, blue is dominant over green and green is dominant over grey. I think that's how it works, but don't quote me on that. Eye colour genetics isn't the best. But then you get the same with hair, like black is dominant over brown hair, brown hair is dominant over blonde hair is dominant over red hair. So we then got horn colours as well, because red is then a dominant over brown in this case. That's why she's got these reddish brown coloured horns. And then you've got albinism and melanism. Albinism's where they've lost coloration. That causes their eyes to go red, their fur and skin to be really pale and white. You can see that across every animal, from humans to rabbits to dogs. And then melanism is sort of the opposite of that, in which case they have black eyes, black hair, everything's all black. Black panthers are a good example. They're considered a separate species from jaguars, but in actual fact they are the same species. It's just the fact that they have melanism, which causes them to be black. And then here we have an allosome gene, which is normal blood clotting, which means normal blood clotting wounds close quicker. And then we have her immunities. We have immunity A and B. So pretty simple. And if they have this immunity twice, it shortens their lifespan, because it means they get sicker quickly. And in my two previous ones, I struggle with trying to keep the immunity separate, so because it causes a lot of inbreeding, because you do only start with these two and you then have to find others, which means if they carry one immunity that's the same as the rest of the pack, it's a little harder to introduce that. And it's that sort of balancing game. So what I may do when a pack gets a bit bigger is then split it into two, so they're one big pack but they aren't all together. so then that should hopefully help me align the immunities better. But that's Eve. Then we have Adam here, who has ram horns like Eve, but doesn't have the antler recessive. Medium is poison fangs, hence why he has these fangs here. That makes him venomous, which means when he attacks a prey or predator, they will be poisoned and eventually die. He has big body, which is why he's got this big, broad body here with all the fur hanging over, compared to Eve here. So then we have the runner leg, and this is called no paws. No paw, in which case that paw is practically useless. In the first one the one I done for 5 hours, that eventually became a really bad thing because it meant that a lot of my offspring being born ended up having 2 no paws, making them essentially useless to the pack. But my second time around, I cottoned on really quickly and eventually was able to breed it out. So that will probably be my first priority, is breeding that out. So then everyone has their own particular use. Then has hind legs, so it doesn't have the webbed recessive. Then you have normal short-sighted eyes. So it basically means they don't see as well. They only see one space ahead instead of 2. So while it's not in itself a problem, it makes things a little harder. We then have fishing tail, then have the black fur and the yellow fur, hence giving this brown dusty fur he's got here, with brown and black mane. So it's basically a brown mane, just a little darker than what it would be if it was too brown. You then have his dots like a cheetah, with panda pattern. I do love the panda pattern, one of my favourites. So he has black eyes with green recessive, which is a little odd because in this it goes black, brown, green, blue, then I think it goes violet, but they've added a few extra ones. So I think I've seen yellow at one point somewhere in there, and perhaps orange, I'm not sure. Perhaps it was orange instead of yellow, but they have plenty of eye colours. Then horn colour being black and white, hence we got this grey one here. And then again, no melanism, no albinism, but he has haemophilia. So he takes more damage from wounds. So it's basically haemophilia's, if I remember correctly, his blood is rather thin. So basically the opposite to Eve's one, because Eve has normal blood clotting. Haemophilia means either it can't or it takes longer for it to clot. So it means it can bleed a lot more. So that may be something. And then no gene here. So it's quite a quick and easy chance. The fact that we maybe had to breed that out. But it doesn't matter if the general population have haemophilia, because I'm hoping that I'm going to have it like a separate group of individuals who are going to be the pack explorers and defenders. And then he has immunity F and immunity G. So he himself is perfect to breed with her. So we're going to test out my theory about the berries, that if we do an action, we'll only lose food for that action. So if we do... Wait, another thing we need to check are these. So he has collection 1, strength 3, venomous, swimming, he can swim better than Eve, speed, and smelling, stealth. Because she has difference, she has these 3 here that Adam doesn't have, but we're going to breed to get our first one, so that's caused 1 action. So then I'm going to take 2 off with him, so that's now 22. Now he's gone like this because I've used all his actions. She needs to be in a nest, so she's not going to do anything, and she could take them, but I'm not going to. So this should take 3 off. So let's just see. If it only takes 2, then I know it's per pair, like per individual. But if it's 3, it's per action. So taking that, and it's 3, so it's per action. So that's how we can regulate that. But then we have our little one here, Anala. I will actually change the names of these as we go along, but notifications, new baby. So these are default to 1 because she is a little baby, and from just looking at her, she's inherited a lot from her mother, from the recessive eyes to the snout, ram horns, although they both have ram horns, the body. So here already we have yellow eyes, and these are all through random genetics. So we got new eyes from the first breed. I was going to say, wondered where they came from, because blue and violet and green and black. So we have spiky body, so we have the odors, smell. So we have rams, so doesn't have the antler recessive that Eve has. We then have cracker and poison fangs. From what I know, poison fangs is the most recessive of the snouts, which means it's going to be really hard to keep that in, which is something I do quite like. So we then have spiky body with big body recessive. We have a digger paw and a runner leg, so we've lost this no paw, although as the only male he will be breeding more, so that may still push through a little. We then have hind legs, webbed hind. We then have normal and blind, so we lost the short-sightedness with her, but she still carries a blind. She doesn't have a tail, so she's got this yellow and black, which has given her this dark form. No mane, she's female, she's striped with the panda pan. We have yellow eyes. We have horns, white. So we've then got this beige, which is good because it actually matches pretty well with her skin. Again, no albinisms. Then she has normal blood clotting here and haemophilia there. And she's got A and G, so she's got his bottom, her top, which is generally how things go. So if you have, they tend to stay where they are at top and bottom. So if we have 2 that have G at the bottom and one has H and one has A, then the odds of you getting offspring with the same one, because they both share the same second allele for, or gene, not allele, for that immunity, then the odds of them being the same are lower, because you take one from the bottom and one from the top for each parent. I think that's how it goes, but I am going to leave that here for this introductory episode. It will be a lot more gameplay, but I always like the first episode of a new game to be quite informational so everyone gets an understanding. So I'm not really bothered if this one gets skipped quite a bit, but that's it for this part, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye guys.